Stage 13 of the Vuelta a España, and the race entered the Cantabrian region up in the north of the country, the destination, the Parque de Cabárceno, a 188-kilometre stage with 11-man breakaway early that included Peter Sagan. The best placed rider overall in the race was Daniel Ovis, but he was more than 37 minutes behind the red jersey of Alberto Contador. So the chasing early was left up to the Orica Green Edge team, who were optimistic about the chances of Michael Matthews. Across the top of the climbs, it was Luis Leon Sanchez from the breakaway who was collecting the points. And for MTN Quebecer, J. Robert Thompson was earlier in the move. It then started to splinter on the final climb, with much of the intensity being raised by Alexei Lutsenko, the fifth youngest rider in the race. Riding for the Astana team, the former under-23 world champion was giving the break that was getting reduced to 5 some sort of a chance of surviving. But with 22 kilometres remaining, FDJ took over at the front to put Nasser Bouhanni into a winning position, and they closed it down. The breakaway, they were eventually caught. The last man to surrender was Lutsenko. The man who'd finished in second place on stage 9 would have to wait another day before he eventually, at some point in his career, will get a stage win in one of the big Grand Tours. Sanchez back in the main peloton, so too Damiano Cunego, and it was rider Hagedal who was coming forward, hoping that maybe Dan Martin could get the win for the Garmin Sharp team. As Lutsenko was caught, Mitch Docker and Simon Clark were doing their job for Michael Matthews, with one climb remaining at the 2.5 kilometre mark, but it would prove to be a steep one, and too steep for the Australian. With the peloton strung out at almost 60 kilometres per hour, Tinkoff Saxo once again took control, Tessato and Bonatti doing the job for Contador. Into the park for the final few kilometres, and the attack started to come. The first to go was Brambilla of Omega Pharma Quickstep. The reaction came from Danny Navarro. Once Danny Navarro was off the front, there was plenty of support from the Spaniards. Chris Froome all show a show of strength towards the front as he tried to respond. 10 years in the professional ranks, and Danny Navarro came into this stage with just one victory to his name, normally riding at the service of Alberto Contador. It was Danny Marino from Katusha who tried to spoil, but Marino didn't have the legs as Navarro hung on to get the victory. The shouts of "Bravo Navarro" as he went across the finish line was music to the ears of the man from Asturias, the neighbouring region. He collected his first ever Grand Tour stage victory. It was Danny Navarro in second, followed by Wilco Kelderman. Alejandro Valverde led home the contenders for the red jersey. No change in the general classification. Contador still leads, 20 seconds ahead of Valverde. It's Rigoberto Urán at 1:08. Chris Froome is a minute and 20 seconds behind. 3 big days of climbing to come.